If you can hear me.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
Yep, go ahead.
Video's working, but hopefully you can hear me. Look, I just had a question. I think the Department of Agriculture is there, so I've missed some of the questions. I wanted to ask, have you modelled the potential loss of agricultural land as a result of the need to reduce emissions to net zero?
Senator, no, we haven't looked at that, Senator.
Right. So that I'm just trying to work out then. I mean, because there's an extensive report. I think I've started working through the primary report, the primary impact of primary production. So you've only assessed the impact of the potential climatic changes, you haven't assessed then whether the policy responses will be worse or better than those climatic impacts. Is that correct?
Well, Senator, the Australian Climate Service has undertaken the methodology and the analysis in this report, not the Department of Agriculture, so I might need them to...
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm not... I suppose, yeah, true, that my question could be for anybody.
Happy to take that, Senator Canavan. So the work we did, we had CSIRO do the work on the primary industries priority risk, and they did not assess current policy or model loss of agricultural land. It looked at impacts of the changing climate on particular crop types or different types of productivity, but didn't look at that specifically.
So the Net Zero Australia report you're probably familiar with, it finds that to reach its version of net zero, that there would need to be 120,000 square kilometres of land converted to various forms of renewable energy, solar, onshore wind and transmission lines. They say, this is a direct quote from the report, they say that's equivalent to over half the area of Victoria. They go on to also assess the potential loss of land for carbon offsets, the reforestation of previously primarily pastoral, but also cropping areas. And they say there that will be another 5.1 million hectares. So that's, and they say in a direct quote, it says that will require significant changes to farming practice. I'm just trying to wonder then. I mean, the report has obviously been used to scare the bejesus out of farmers, saying you're going to have this terrible impact on your productivity. But why haven't then you looked at what will happen to farming if we pursue net zero emissions and potentially convert something like 170,000 square kilometres of land from agricultural use?
Thank you, Senator. The scope of this report was physical risk only. It did not include transition risk or mitigation, which is why we were looking at productivity, potential productivity impacts. Okay.
So I suppose in that point then you can't really use your report alone to determine what our emission cuts should be. The Hansard can't hear a nod, sorry.
No, that was not the intention of the report. The report is primarily intended to guide and be a resource for adaptation.
Right, so this report really, it doesn't provide any useful information from a cost-benefit point of view about whether we should cut emissions by 30%, 50% or to zero.
No, as I said, the report is guiding adaptation and looking at scenarios for what Australia may look like or what some of the impacts would be. Mitigation was out of scope for the report.
Okay. Just going back to, I actually don't know if it's Department of Agriculture. It's an agricultural question. It's from my initial quick look at the primary industries technical report. Can someone outline to me what is expected to happen to rainfall and drought in the Murray-Darling Basin?
What the climate science has found is that the changes in average rainfall are highly uncertain and depend by region. What is quite clear is that rainfall will become more intense when it does happen, which will likely to increase flooding, but it would also mean that the droughts will also become more frequent and more intense. This will certainly challenge the Murray-Darling Basin catchment in the same way as it will every other region of the country.
Just quoting from the Primary Industries Technical Report, it says, In contrast, confidence is low for changes in most of northern and inland Australia, including the Murray-Darling Basin, due to the large uncertainty between RCM's type of model, ranging from halving to a 50% more increase in time spent in drought. So I'm just trying to understand, you said it will be an issue for the Murray-Darling, but that quote seems to indicate you really have no idea, but we have no, I shouldn't say you, we have no idea about what will happen in the Murray-Darling.
So average rainfall, there is a lot of uncertainty around changes to average rainfall, but impacts on all of our catchments depends on how it rains and when it rains. So what we do have confidence in is that when rainfall will become more intense and droughts will become more intense. And so when we have provided low confidence information in the hazard tables and a range, the way that we would recommend that is it's used for scenario planning. So what if planning? What if we have a few years that look at the low end of the range? What happens if we have a few years at the high end of the range? It is an area of ongoing research in climate science. It's particularly hard to project at the moment high-intensity rainfall, which is very high resolution, requires very high-resolution climate modelling. So the climate scientists have provided guidance, which is the current state of the science.
Can I just ask about cyclones? What do you think will happen with cyclones?
So the science says that we expect to have fewer cyclones, but the ones that we have are likely to be more intense. They all flow on from the same processes as the rainfall that I was just describing. There's low confidence. There is some indication that they are likely to appear further south, but there's low confidence in that at the moment. But again, we would recommend that is used for scenario planning. It's also an area of active international research.
I mean, I'm just trying to square that. I'm sure you're aware of the Bureau of Meteorology data, which shows that there's been a decline in both severe and non-severe cyclones in the last 30 years. We've only really got good data from late 1960s from satellites. But so for the last 30 years of the 20th century, we had an average of 6 severe cyclones a year. Since 2000, we've had just 4 severe cyclones a year. I'm just trying to wonder why. We've obviously been increasing emissions, and we're told we're experiencing the impacts of climate change. Indeed, every time a cyclone turns up, people say it's because of climate change. Why haven't we seen that signal in the data to date? If you're saying that but in the next 30 years we're going to potentially get an increase in severe cyclones, why have we had a decreasing trend while emissions have been increasing for the last 50, 60 years?
The statistics for cyclones are very small. If you see a change from 4 to 6 is not significant, but also the climate is changing significantly, and what we expect to see over the next 25 or 75 years, which is the time frame of our report, is quite significant changes. So there is low confidence in the tropical cyclone work. It relies on high resolution modelling, which is an area of active research. But the research was done by the Bureau of Meteorology and by CSIRO, and so what is in the report is what is reflected in their science.
So you agree with the IPCC, which concluded that there is low confidence in long-term, multi-decadal to centennial trends in the frequency of all category tropical cyclones?
At the moment, yes.
Yeah.
Senator Canavan, last
all right.
question.
I've got one more.
Yep, one more. Then I'm going to take it off.
How much did the report cost?
The Australian Climate Service got $22.9 million to undertake the work over 2 years.
And how many people worked on it?
We had over 250 experts, but in addition to that, there would be other people in my team for doing governance processes, communications and the like. So I would say over 350 people.
Take that on notice. Can you split out on notice how many people were employed on the communications side in your team? Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator